you find yourself lost in Irvingland. As we begin today, Don and Dr. Smith are in the chariot, apparently heading toward an active volcano. Gentlemen, I believe prudence dictates going the other way.
Oh, check the inside temperature. 93, 95. It's rising. This may explode. Relax. The hyperatomic explosive won't detonate at that temperature. When it reaches 115, then we begin to worry, not before.
If you had trouble hearing it over the volcano and the music, that thing that looks like a Sputnik module is a hyperatomic explosive. It's on that cord because it's sensitive to both temperature and vibration, both of which we currently have in abundance. The volcano is in the process of erupting, and the Jupiter 2 is right in the path of both the ash debris and the lava flow. These two are trying to make their way to the caldera and throw that bomb into it. The idea is that the explosion should make the dome collapse in on itself and stifle the eruption, at least long enough for them to blast off and be somewhere else. And if you're asking why the frack Don took Smith with him to do this, you're not alone.
Is there any danger from the volcano if we're forced to stay?
Well, Penny, this is an ancient and very unstable planet. That's one danger. The other and more immediate danger is right here. We're right in the path of that volcanic flow.
John can't help himself. He has to use all those words and make a treatise out of it, when Penny would have been perfectly happy if he just pointed at the screen and said, yeah, that. In the chariot, Smith is pulling his usual antics, screaming and fretting and fumbling around with the bomb, while Don tries to navigate his way through most people's idea of hell.
Check the sling.
Maybe it is hell. We even have crazy looking demons with... Wait, where's this pitchfork? The countdown is because Smith panicked and threw the bomb at it.
Focus apparition. That's all it was. Major, it's beginning to bubble. I can hear it. You must stop the chariot immediately. Let me out. You hear? Hold on, Smith. We're almost there. But then there'll be another eruption. And another. Well, that's why we're here, you...
Another glaring missed opportunity. Not counting John, who is the one person Don works best with among this crew, to say nothing of his hopelessly in love with. Why in the name of common sense didn't we have Judy do this? For the first time in 2 seasons, she could have had something to do. But rather than develop another character, they keep pounding us in the face with Dr. Smith and his inane babbling, screaming, and whining. It's not amusing anymore. It's old and tired, and we want to see something else for a change. This is the perfect place to put Don and Judy into a story and let them tell us more about themselves. They can discuss their future, reminisce about how they met, play tic-tac-toe on the rocks. You name it, we have the opportunity to do it. Literally, all of space is the limit. But we seem to be in a rut with the characters we feature. At least we have Dawn instead of Will, so let's see how this shakes out.
Well, there she is.
It stopped erupting. There's no point in disturbing its dormant condition.
Where are you going, Smith?
I must get my vacuum flask. I require a bit of refreshment before returning to the Jupiter.
Not so fast. In the first place, volcanoes don't go dormant just like that. And in the second place, before you take your coffee break, we're going up that hillside.
He tells Smith to get the explosive, then is dumb enough to turn his back and expect Smith to do it.
I told you to get the explosives.
It's my malarial ague, Major. It comes upon me suddenly when I least expect it, and it gives me the shivers, as you can plainly see.
You know, one reason people keep doing bad things is because good people don't hold them accountable. If there are no consequences, why not do whatever you want? They keep letting Smith get away with stuff like this. Don will go get the explosive himself instead of slapping the cup out of Smith's hand and making him go get it. It's not believable anymore, especially from Don West. He despises Smith with his entire being, so I can't see him letting Smith pull this and just going with it. That is not something he would do, especially when it's just the two of them. This episode has already lost me.
Hungers! Hungers! Major? Major?
Did you put something in my coffee?
Reassure me. Tell me they're all apparitions.
I'm trying to picture Judy asking a stupid question like that. Can't do it.
Not this time, Smith.
There was another time when they were. Don starts trying to explain about the explosive.
Noah!
If that's genetic, maybe we should interbreed with him. He disappears the detonator and the wire, too.
Uncanny powers. I don't like this at all.
How thoughtless of them not to ask you first. I'm sure they'll turn it off right away.
Well, you like it. Well, if you like it, I'll get you some more. I'll just drive back to my camp kitchen. They just keep an eye on them until I return.
Or not. Using a series of hand signals, Don was able to negotiate a trade, the chariot for one of those sticks. Smith never disobeyed him again. The cavemen herd our heroes to a cave, fittingly enough. The rest of the crew has no idea what's going on. They lost contact with the chariot, probably thanks to magnetic interference from the volcano. That, at least, is a real thing.
Do you think those signals are some kind of a message?
Now, the only message I'm getting is that they're jamming our receiving and our sending. Robot, I want an analysis of those signals and a picture.
Data indicates that they are a combination of primitive and advanced communication technology.
Then again, it could be the magic stick.
Look, I realize we don't understand each other very well. But, we are not your enemies. Do you understand that? Look, all we're trying to do is to set up this explosive, you see, and prevent the volcano from erupting and causing death and destruction all over this planet.
That means, why didn't you say so before?
Can't you understand that?
I am not yet ready to understand. You must wait.
Then you speak. Then you must understand what I'm saying.
Gather round, friends, gather round, and let me tell you what I'm going to do. This remarkable invention is to be given away here today, free, gratis, and for nothing, without any obligation, and at no cost whatsoever. Yes, friends, feast your eyes on this unique implement and imagine the 1,001 uses to which it can be put. Now, let me show you. Now, a knife, do you see? And a screwdriver.
Why isn't Don stopping him, you ask? I'm glad you asked.
And a bottle opener, and a ballpoint pen, you see, and a shoehorn, isn't...
He's snitching one of the Tinker toys. Smith gives the knife to one of the men and they go off to play with it. What's his plan now? Whatever his plan was, I don't think it included that.
At the stranger's approach.
We're subjected to several verbal bombardments from Smith, all of which I'm omitting because they're frankly tiresome. I don't know what kind of hold Jonathan Harris had on somebody, but the show suffered for it. Our caveman, on the other hand, is someone we've seen before on Irving's Zoo. Fans of the original Star Trek series might recognize D'Amato, the geologist from the first season who died from cellular disruption when Lee Meriwether touched him. I'd probably melt a little, but I don't think my whole body would fall apart. More recently, fans of TV fails may have spotted Batu, the Mongol leader who took Doug and Tony captive in the Time Tunnel episode Attack of the Barbarians. His name was Arthur Botanides, and he got interested in acting after he started telling jokes to fellow soldiers while he was fighting in Europe during World War II. He seemed to be more at home on television than in movies, although he did have a recurring role in several of the Police Academy movies. Much of his work was doing guest appearances like this one. It makes sense because that face can fit a lot of roles and storylines. It was a smart move not to limit himself to one at a time.
Can you understand us now?
Hi, Randa. Speak to you through the power of the great Protenius.
Oh my word, it's Vol. 9 days later, Star Trek did the exact same story. I don't know who copied whom, but I didn't really care for either one. Although the Star Trek episode did give us this.
I wonder what would happen. Yeoman, speculate. What would happen if someone on this planet died? Accidents happen.
Then they would need a replacement. But these people, I mean, if they don't know anything about... What I mean is, they don't seem to have any natural... I mean, how is it done?
Mrs. Spock, you're the science officer. Why don't you explain it to the young lady?
Well, I believe it's safe to assume that they would receive the necessary instructions.
Mr. Spock, sex educator. The great protein is guiding these people's evolution, and there's a problem.
If the great Protenius understands us so well, you must know that we're not your enemies.
The fact that you are here makes you our enemies. You may have contaminated us by your presence.
Fair point. They carry bacteria that aren't native to this planet, which could be an issue. But they're already here, so I'm not sure what the Great Protractor proposes to do about it.
Your life form is different than ours. Our life form is temporary. Yours is permanent.
Is that bad?
We are in the early stages of evolution. Before the great Protenius can transport us to another form of life, we must remain free of contamination from other forms of life.
Let me get this. You're about to take a big evolutionary step. To do that, you have to avoid interaction with other species. I'm not sure this computer understands how evolution works. He says, until the nature of your destruction is decided, you'll be put in quarantine.
How long do you plan to keep us in quarantine?
That question has already been answered. By your being here, you have forfeited your lives.
Vol says, pretend this is the head of one of the strangers. Take a big stick and come up to them and do this. It's as if they collaborated.
What about yours? The great Protenius knows so much, he knows about that volcano, and if I don't get it capped, there'll be no life form for anyone.
The volcano will not harm us.
There's a lady who used to live on Dante's Peak who'd like to have a word with you about that. Our man waves his stick again, and suddenly they're tied back to back with what look like nylon ropes. Amazing how universal some artificial compounds are. In a holding cave, Smith is focused on the most important thing, himself.
It's the rope. I need food. Food! Oh. How do they expect us to eat it? We're all tied up.
For once, his insane focus on his stomach paid off. Don has found a soft spot in the floor where they might be able to tunnel their way out. John has been out looking for them without success. Naturally, next thing we know, Will has slipped away, taken the robot with him, and gone to look for them himself.
Hurry, robot, look at the chariot! How did it happen?
Magnetic analysis of organic material on chariot indicates its origin to be prehistoric.
Prehistoric to what? To Earth history? To this planet's history? We don't know anything about this planet's history. These people are pre-industrial and more or less pre-language. The question is, what do you mean by historic? On this planet, it usually means before written record keeping. So prehistoric really means we have a way to know anything about it historic. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Whew. I thought Don and Dr. Smith might be in there. Where are they?
I'm as baffled as you are, Will Robinson.
I can't say with absolute certainty, but I think that may be the first time I've heard the robot use a contraction.
Come in, Jupiter. Jupiter, come in.
Go ahead, son.
I found the chariot, Dad, but there's no sign of Dr. Smith or Don. It's a funny thing about the chariot.
What do you mean?
Well, it's kind of prehistoric now. I just can't explain.
Where are you?
I'm about 4 miles due south of Transmission Station 2.
All right, stay there. I'll be right over.
Okay, over and out.
He's not even angry. They've come to learn that this is a thing Will does and they can't stop him. Getting angry or punishing him doesn't help. So they finally decided just go with it. Again, consequences. Back to the space pod. I hope you remembered to stop at a gas station and fill it up. Don has indeed found a tunnel under their cell and they're following it, looking for a way out.
Shh, listen. Up there. We must be right under that cracking plant.
Cracking plant?
It's not so different. Cracking plant refines crude oil. That equipment up there refines crude aliens.
I won't even begin to pretend I have any idea what he just said. The part I do understand is he figures if they plant that explosive under it, they might be able to disable it long enough to get away. There's just one problem.
Careful, don't drop it.
You're getting dust in my eyes.
Quiet.
Hombres. Hombres.
The great propensity can hear them.
Run, Smith!
Major. Major, where are you?
Not that it did him much good, but it didn't do our boys any good either, because now Don is dangling by one hand and Smith is being his usual self.
No, you're pulling me into the hole with you.
Keep trying!
My arm is being wrenched out of its socket. I can't hold on much longer.
Then let go!
What? Let go?
Save yourself, Smith. Forget it. Let go!
I can't let go. I can't. I'm afraid. Here. Now. 1, 2, 3. Ease, Major. Ease. Oh, my delicate back will never survive this.
If he saves Don, his delicate back will never survive, and his shoulder is blah, 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 whine, whine, whine. Please just shut up. But if he runs away and saves himself, he's all alone, and he's afraid of being alone, and blah, 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 whine, whine, whine. Please just shut up. To top it off, the explosion caused a cave-in that sealed their exit. They're trapped. And it's airtight, which means limited oxygen. Of course, that's in the TV drama rulebook. John has reached the chariot. While he was searching, the cavemen captured Will and the robot. The robot caused a diversion, and Will got away.
They're captured. They've been imprisoned in a cave by prehistoric aliens.
What?
It's true, Dad. At least they look prehistoric. And they've got all our blasting equipment. I left the robot there to keep an eye on them.
It took 2.5 years, but John has finally learned not to question Will's wild stories. At least for today. Who knows about next episode? I guess the robot decided that he likes the great propeller better than he likes the crew. Will taps out a Morse code message to him on a rock.
I read you loud and clear, Will Robinson. Boom, boom, boom.
Tell him to keep them away from the cave.
Okay.
When he gets a chance, he'll explain that he figured it was better to join them than fight them, and he was right. Since he's a machine, the great Papillon accepted him right away. While the robot uses his lasers and such to keep the locals occupied, we watch John do several Sam Fisher-type runs from cover point to cover point, trying to reach the cave where Don and Smith are.
Dr. Smith?
Yes. Did you call me Dr. Smith?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You saved my life. And well, I've been thinking.
The two of them have a long talk and actually reconcile. They decide to go out on a note of eternal friendship, Don and Zachary forever. I am establishing a pool of bets on how long that lasts after they get out. The time amounts in the pool range from 15 seconds to 3 minutes in 10-second increments. Place your bets now. John has reached the cave. Now all he has to do is figure out how to move the boulder that's blocking the entrance. Oh, don't run away. That's dinosaur for... Let me get that for you. I'm not even going to ask where it came from and if it's been there all this time, why it hasn't eaten its fill of cavemen. The great preposterous can make stuff appear and disappear as much as he wants, so I figure he popped it in there to scare John away. Or eat him. A couple of laser blasts drive the lizard away, but he's been discovered. Uh-oh, they're bowing down to the robot now. The Great Profusion can't have that, so now it's a contest of abilities between the two. While the battle rages, with the robot doing stage show type illusion tricks and the machine doing actual stuff, John slips away and manages to move the giant rock. Now for the one that's sealing our guys in the tunnel below. While he's getting the two bosom buddies out, the robot has just made a guy disappear and reappear. The locals are impressed.
Robot!
Okay, you win. Of the two, you're the more powerful, but you're still only second best. Let's see the great protein bar disappear that. Suddenly they're begging the strangers to go ahead and cap the volcano. How quickly they come around when it's their own butts on the line. While Don, Smith, and the robot stay to help control the fires, John and Will take the explosive gear and head for the hill. John climbs into a hole that's shooting scalding hot steam directly into his face, plants the bomb, and comes out without so much as a drop of sweat to show for it. Time to detonate. It didn't do anything to the volcano, but it did clear the way for a new road through the village. That's the best stock footage they could come up with. I admit I expected to have to watch the smoke and ash and everything else suck back into the volcano the way we've seen Irwin Allen do before. Thankfully, he spared us that little bit of absurdity this time. The great proprietor is grateful, so he restores the robot and releases everybody so they can blast off and forget this place. But he has a parting message for them.
You have given the great Britannias an opportunity to pause and reflect. A machine must not be superior to the destinies of those it guides. It must remain the servant, not the ruler. This, the great Britannias has learned from you.
What just happened? Last of all, the great Perfidious disappears to where, who cares? It's over. Time to get back to the chariot and return to the ship.
You coming, Doctor?
Surely you don't expect me to walk after all I've suffered? Major, fetch the chariot. I shall await your return.
You'll walk just like the rest of us. Zach?
Zach? Indeed.
19.47 seconds. We need the closest without going over, so who had 19 seconds? Ah, there you are. I suppose it's too much to hope someone got closer. You had 19.4? Really? Show me. Sure enough. Well, unless someone thinks they're closer than 0.7 seconds, I think we have a winner. I'll be right there. Oh, I'll see you next time you find yourself lost in Irvingland.
If you enjoyed this episode, click the like button and let us know. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you always know what is happening, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. We make sure of it. We control his computer. Until next time.
If there are no consequences, why not do whatever you want? Except that.